Good morning, everyone. I'm Sarah Moraes, Content Marketing Strategist at Vertical Measures. Joining me today is Elise Redling-Cook, Content Strategist, Abby Gilmore, Content Strategist, and Anne-Marie Jankovich, Promotion Strategist. If you aren't familiar with Vertical Measures, we are a strategic internet marketing company located in Phoenix, Arizona, offering link building services, SEO, content marketing, social media engagement, and search engine marketing for businesses of varying sizes. Before getting started, I just want to let you know that today's webinar will be available for replay on our website at www.verticalmeasures.com/webinars, assuming there are no technical difficulties. Given there is enough time at the end of the webinar, we'll be happy to answer questions, so please make sure to ask them in the chat applet located on your screen. And finally, if you are having any difficulties, please attempt to reconnect. For today's agenda, Abby will be discussing the importance of social media participation for public relations. Anne-Marie will discuss how to connect with social media influencers and bloggers. Elise will cover press release optimization best practices, and I will dive into some effective ways to maximize your press release visibility. So let's go ahead and get started. Abby, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. So I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the importance of social media participation for PR. So social media allows you to connect with people who are your customers and people who could potentially be your customers. So it's really important to stay connected with these people because they're the ones spending money on your products and services or spending time on your website. So though many of you have heard this before, it's so important that it's really worth repeating. First and foremost, you should have a goal before you participate in social media for any reason, including for online PR. So think about what you will be measuring. Will it be online mentions or the sentiment of your mentions? You have to figure that out before you start participating. You should also develop a cohesive social media strategy to implement with that goal in mind. And you'll also need to benchmark so you know where you started. Without a goal in benchmarking, measuring ROI will really be impossible. So you need a starting point to see how effective your strategy is. And once you know what you're going to track, just do that. Track your results along the way. Next, I'm going to talk about identifying channels. So identify appropriate channels to participate in. Do this by completing market research and social listening. So participate in social as a user, not as a brand, and just see what people are talking about in your industry. And see what target audience is participating on each channel. So see if your target market is active. You'll want to participate where your audience is active so your efforts don't go to waste. So these channels can include Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, MySpace, Tumblr, LinkedIn, etc. And you want to be a resource. So to be a resource to your social media friends, fans, and followers, you must be the part. So to do this, create compelling content, including free guides, white papers, videos, articles, and more, whatever is appropriate for your specific industry. And start thinking of every single one of your blog posts as a resource. So your blog should be addressing industry news and questions, and it's just another way for you to connect with your network by giving them your expert advice and opinions. Then promote these pieces of content through your social media channels to help your online PR with the search engines and with your customers. Of course, every time you're sharing a piece of content online, you're creating a link back to your site, but also you're making the content available for your network. Conversational marketing. So answer questions on Twitter, Quora, Yahoo Answers, and forums to increase brand awareness. So seek out the places where people are talking about your industry and participate there. Share your resources and stories and participate in the conversation whenever and wherever you can. You can do Twitter searches for certain keywords and start conversations that way. You can ask questions on your Facebook wall and try to encourage engagement that way. Don't be a fly on the wall. Definitely try to participate. So why does conversational marketing work? People really only care about themselves, so they really don't care about what you're saying unless it pertains to them. So help them to help themselves with your resources or promotions or whatever you have to offer. People also truly love to talk and connect with others, even online. And brands that are active on social media are really remembered, so you want to be memorable. In a study from Chadwick Martin Bailey, which is a market research firm, it was found that 60% of Facebook fans and 79% of Twitter followers are more likely to recommend the brands they connect with online. And also, 51% of Facebook fans and 67% of Twitter followers are more likely to purchase goods or services from the brands they interact with on social media sites, and that's exactly what you want. You want people to be spending time on your website or purchasing your products or services. Empowering customers. So empower your customers by inspiring them to participate in the online community that you build through your social networks. So keep up with all your social networks you're involved in. Again, people really want to connect and be heard, so it's important to keep up with all the networks that you're active on. And encourage user-generated content to get others involved. This will help to empower customers and work to your advantage as far as online PR and reputation efforts go. So as you can see by the graph on the right, people are creating content at a rapid pace. So people really want to create their own content, but they need to be inspired. So inspire them to create content for you. Also, positive reviews, which are also considered user-generated content, go a long way in search engines and with people. So encouraging people to leave Yelp or Google Places reviews will help you in both aspects. Building brand loyalty. So by doing all the things that I've already mentioned, participating in social, answering questions, creating great content, and then being a resource, you are in turn, you're building brand loyalty. But you should also try to get the conversation going when you can. Use your social media accounts to promote contests and giveaways or whatever you have going on at your company or in your industry. And then you want to monitor these conversations on social media platforms about your industry by searching for industry keywords and buzzwords. So going out there and actively searching for people that are talking about your industry. And then also manage your brand mentions on social media platforms and reach out to those people specifically because they're already talking about your brand. So it's a great starting point. And then target specific users mentioning your brand or even your competitors for discount codes, offers, and the resources that you have. And of course, be authentic. Authenticity is huge in PR, both on and offline. But online, you have an advantage. The advantage is being able to respond directly to people who are questioning you or your brand, or people who have comments or concerns. But you really have to commit to responding authentically. Try not to set up auto responses through your social media channels unless it's just making a promise to follow up later, and then you actually do that. People will see right through those direct responses. And then encourage feedback and recognize your customers are being heard. You would be really surprised how far recognition goes even online. So if people are making suggestions and feedback, you really want to recognize that you're listening. And now I'm going to hand it over to Anne-Marie.
Okay, thank you, Abby. So today I'm going to be talking about connecting with social media influencers. And some of the subjects I'll go over are targeting bloggers and media, monitoring and listening, engagement, pitching, and things you can do today to get started. So the key with social media outreach is that by creating specialized content and marketing towards those social media influencers, you're showing respect for their influence. And your goal here is that you're going to strengthen the relationship they have with your brand. And the more connected they feel to your brand, the more likely they are to consistently share with their network. So as I go through this, keep in mind that for reporters, this is in an online context. So you'll need to obviously be a little bit more formal with your communication than what you would with a blogger, but you'll need to define your own style. Another top reason for doing social media outreach is that you're reaching an audience where credibility and trust has already been established. So you're really tapping into a loyal fan base. You also have the opportunity to garner unbiased reviews of your products, to introduce your brand, to generate interest, and obviously your information has the potential to go viral through people tweeting, sharing, and possibly offering reviews of your brand. So the next part is, where are my bloggers and reporters at? So how do you track down the niche bloggers and reporters that align with your product? So the first thing you want to do is browse blog directories, and I would suggest keeping a list of the names and faces that you see stepping up in the community most often. Check out their profiles. You're looking for folks that not only take in content, but who actively share it. And then make sure you actually read the blog to see what they're saying, when was the last time they posted, how frequently they post, and you can also look at PageRank. And I also do recommend using a spreadsheet to track information, the URL, contact name, etc. And then that way you can build up a database by each niche subject. So some of the blog services that you can use to locate some of the blog authors are Technorati, and this allows you to browse by blogs related to your subject or find posts by authors. The next is Alltop, and that's basically what's hot on the web. Where is the buzz? One cool feature of that is My Alltop, which enables you to create sort of an online personal magazine rack of all your favorite websites and blogs. So you can actually peruse those at your leisure, but you know, keep them all in one place so you can easily follow those over a course of time. And the next one would be Top Blog List. And this has about 30 categories of subjects and ranks the top blogs in each subject matter. And Google Blog Search, where you can actually filter by subject matter, date, or region. As far as journalists go, obviously you can look on Twitter, but if you want to use a more targeted approach, you can use journalist tweets, and that allows you to browse journalists on Twitter by country and then even drill down by subject matter. Muck Rack is another similar alternative, and Help a Reporter Out. And this is cool. It matches reporters and sources. So you can actually sign up as a source, and you can receive daily emails of media queries that come directly from reporters. So you can see what sort of information they're looking for. Vocus is an expensive subscription service, but you can tap into over 1 million journalists, bloggers, media outlets. And then LinkedIn and Facebook, that I would recommend using only after you've established a personal relationship with either a reporter or blogger. Okay, so next I'd like to share an example of kind of if you have a particular subject matter and you're trying to track down what the buzz is online, and this is a subject that maybe we're all a little burnt out on, but you definitely can't deny the buzz around it. So tracking the tiger. Okay, so this shows how things are being talked about and shared in different ways across different platforms. And here we have a snapshot of the same subject matter, Charlie Sheen, through the eyes of bloggers, reporters, and tweeters. So on Technorati here you can see what some of the posts are, what the authors are saying, reporters, what they're saying on Muck Rack, what they're tweeting about, and then actually Twitter using a hashtag Tiger Blood. You can see what others are sharing on the same subject. So that gives you an idea of some of the different sources you can use just on one particular area. Okay, the next thing is the rules of engagement, and your goal here really is to build a relationship over time, and I would suggest 1 to 2 months. You want to become familiar with their body of work. You want to monitor and listen, take a look at what they retweet and who they converse with on a regular basis, get their opinion, ask how they feel about a particular topic, contribute your resources or expertise, and tweet any relevant information to your audience, and that's another way to really participate. 2 good monitoring tools are Bloglines and Google Reader. And you can find and track your favorite websites and blogs in real time and customize your dashboard. So you can kind of create those for each subject matter. Okay, the next slide I have here, I included this Blogger Outreach Code of Ethics courtesy of Ogilvy, and it's somewhat dated but definitely relevant. And I wanted to show you here that this is how important it is to treat social media influencers with a unique protocol. Ogilvy actually includes a link in each of their outreach efforts to bloggers with this code of ethics, which really shows that they are transparent, and they're authentic. And one of the key phrases here that kind of stood out to me was that your goal is really to create the best possible experience for their audience and rely on them to be the expert. So I thought that was a good example of what other companies are doing. Okay, so pitching the social media release. You want to find the right audience and the right message. You want to know what they cover in their material, so you want to make sure you stay targeted and reference that. You should personalize it, and an example you could say, you know, I really enjoyed your recent work on your blog, especially your post about whatever, but make sure that you make it very relevant. And you also want to keep it short, focus on authenticity, and have something interesting to offer. This is key. You might want to offer something, a product trial, maybe a discount offer. You can say we're willing to offer 50 free sign-up codes with this sort of value exclusively to your audience, but you want to make them feel that this is unique to them. What you don't want to do is use a blanket pitch, send attachments. If they're wanting more information from you, they'll let you know, but to keep it brief, avoid attachments, and you do not want to sell or push your products or services. Okay, so some things you can do to get started today to start connecting is follow people and organizations of interest, browse blog directories, and then sign up and subscribe to those blogs, join some of the communities and forums, and begin following tweets. And just to reiterate on the importance of social media, according to Technorati, there are over 126 million blogs out there. So blogger outreach is something you really can't ignore. And now I'd like to turn it over to Elise.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. Okay, so people are always asking me what's the difference between online and offline PR. To me, the main difference is quite simply the audience. The discipline of public relations overall is concerned with maintaining a public image for business, nonprofit organizations, or high-profile people such as celebrities and politicians. Offline PR deals with the mediums of print, radio, TV, events, or conferences, and other real-life venues. What I mean by audience is that online PR tactics typically concentrate on that same goal, but instead are more focused on the online audience and are geared towards influencing media and communities that exist solely or at least primarily online, and utilizing online distribution channels to spread the message. These audiences include search engines. And yes, I do actually see the search engines as a very specific audience in and of themselves. You'll also, of course, want to consider blog readers, forum participants on discussion threads, and word of mouth on social media networks, as Abby and Anne-Marie have already discussed. If you mean to reach these audiences, then you too will need to speak their language, use their tools, and be part of their networks. In the last decade, the internet has clearly emerged as the most prominent means of communication. SEO has attracted attention for the value it offers to organizations' search rankings. Search users comprise an audience of an estimated 200 million plus. These searchers consist of all kinds of people with a number of different types of intent, from consumers to media, investors, and more. I like to look at the search engines as an audience all to themselves, as I've said, because at the end of the day, they're just robots. Basically, a search engine is a software program that searches for sites based on the words that you designate as search terms. They include incredibly detailed processes and methodologies and are updated all the time. All search engines go by the same basic process, but because there are differences in the search engines such as Google, Yahoo, and Bing's algorithms, there are bound to be different results depending on which engine you use. So basically, when you tailor your PR to this particular audience, the search engine, it is vital to keep in mind that you must make it as easy as possible for a robot to understand the signs and signals that you've placed within your piece to help these robots sort and rank it properly. One of the tried and true tactics for traditional PR, the press release, also works very well online. Optimized press releases rank higher in search results and have longer lifespans on the web. When relevant keywords are included, journalists and consumers alike will be able to immediately retrieve your news based on the keywords they search with. To make your news release friendly to the search engines, you'll want to keep the following in mind. First and foremost, it's the headline. Make sure that you pick the most relevant keyword. Place that keyword as near the beginning of the headline as possible. Try not to exceed 8 words, and ensure that that headline accurately summarizes the content of the release. A good practice is to try your best to include your keyword in the headline, as I've said, as well as the subtitle. Keep it in mind that search engines are thought to give heavier weight to bolded text. Include your keyword as close to the beginning of the body as possible. I usually aim to get it into the first sentence or the first paragraph at least. Don't overdo it though. 2 to 3 times throughout the text is fine. Overuse is considered bad SEO and most importantly looks unnatural to your most important audience, your customer. You also want to get that keyword in the last paragraph if you can. If your distribution service allows you to customize the URL of your press release, make sure to include that keyword in it. Also, you want to make sure that you're conscious of the keyword and be sure to use that same keyword throughout the release and as the anchor text and link it directly to the page that you'd like to rank with that keyword. You also don't want to overuse these hyperlinks. No more than 1 per 100 words is a good rule of thumb. If you have images or video to add to your release, make sure to include them. Not only do these aspects make the release far more interesting and engaging for the reader, but they augment the pickup of the release in places like Google Images and Google Video. Because search engines can't see images, you'll want to make sure that you tag all of these additions appropriately by making sure to clearly describe them and include URLs to the original source, which hopefully is on your site when applicable. When distributing your press release, depending on the service and price point you choose, you'll have a number of different options in terms of categorizing in the industry and news publications, as well as related topics to your release. Make sure to take your time and complete this section as accurately and completely as possible. These are all cues to the search engines how to index and sort your information, as well as ways that your readers will find your release. It looks like we're ready for Sarah now.
All right, thank you ladies. Those were all really great presentations. For my segment, I'm going to discuss tools to maximize your press release visibility. So once you have pitched bloggers, done your social media engagement, distributed your SEO release, what's next? And is a fancy, expensive wire distribution service really the right channel for your news? Many of us don't have huge marketing budgets, and press release distribution can cost a lot of money. But with the right techniques and tools and knowledge, you can incorporate a lot of those bells and whistles yourself and use free distribution sites. Some great free or inexpensive sites include freepressindex.com. It's a free press release distribution service available to all media professionals. So PR writers, journalists, freelancers, and reporters to distribute your news to targeted audiences. PRLeap is also a social press release site. In just a few minutes, I'm going to talk about the difference between a social media release and a traditional press release. Elise touched on the social release, but we'll go a little bit more in depth. PRLeap does charge from $50 to $150, but you can add photos, videos, and other multimedia elements, as well as include links and pull visibility reports. With ClickPress, once your release has been approved, it's available to visitors as well as major web and search engines, also free. With 24/7 press release, they have paid options for SEO, social media, and traditional releases, and they also partner with PR Newswire for a more traditional option. PR.com is slightly different in that you can create a full company profile and house all of your press releases there, as well as a directory of your products, services, and it even has a job listing area, also free. And Vertical Measures, we really like Pitch Engine. It's similar to PR.com in that you can have a company profile, but it's really user-friendly. It allows you to openly create and share your content, include images, videos, and attachments at no cost. You can create digital flyers, press releases, real estate listings, and not just reach journalists, but bloggers and consumers and social media influencers. So release is just $29, again, including images and videos. There's no extra cost there. And you can also do a $39 per month option for unlimited pitches. All of these services, there's many more out there, just some that I personally explored, can be really good alternatives to the expensive traditional press release through places like PR Newswire and Business Wire. They all have editorial teams as well, monitoring for spam and promotional language, so you'll know that your release is in good company. And these sites are, again, really easy to figure out and can save you a lot of money. So the social media release, what's the difference? The social media release doesn't replace the traditional press release, but it's a really great complement to it. According to a 2008 PWR New Media Journalist Survey, 85% of journalists do prefer to receive press releases via email and want them loaded with content, but why not increase your chances of your story being picked up exponentially by spreading it via social media networks and online communities? Many journalists are, in fact, beginning to use social media to find stories. Many bloggers and journalists need immediate access to stories and to those multimedia digital elements that they can just load onto their sites and spread quickly. A social media release, it's a really great way to make your news more shareable, and it should contain everything necessary to share and discover a story in a way that is complementary to your original intent. The difference is how they find it and the tools they use to share and broadcast it. It's really about connecting content across social networks and the people who are looking for it. So what are the elements of a social media release? As you can see in this really tiny, hard to see diagram from Shift Communications, you've got your contact information, your headline, your core news facts, all rich with keywords. You definitely always want to optimize a press release if it's being distributed across the web. And as with a traditional press release, you want to add quotes from executives, customers, and partners, and get that extra support from people who are already cheerleaders of your company. So here's where it starts to look different than your average press release. What makes a social media release really cool is that you have the opportunity to embed photos, videos, audio, graphics, and give it even more potential to be shared outside of traditional communities. You can also add links to your company's RSS feeds, links for readers to share the release on Twitter and Facebook and other social networks, as well as sites like Dig, StumbleUpon, and other links that are going to make it really easy for people to share your news for you. Basically, social media releases should be designed for the web, while a traditional release is more designed for the wire. SMRs play to the strengths of the web and social media, a feature that wire services have really yet to adopt. Get social with it. You've distributed your news to the media and to people outside of your own audience. What about your own audience? People who are already listening to you. It's really beneficial to post your press release on your own social networks, your Facebook, your Twitter, your LinkedIn, and other networks that you have already captured engagement. Same goes for social bookmarking and news sites. Sites like Dig, Yahoo Buzz, StumbleUpon, Mix, Reddit, Propeller. Post your press release to these sites with a keyword-rich summary and appropriate tags. Promote your information within the very networks that people are going to discover and share it. And finally, have a press room. You should absolutely have a hub on your own website, a central place where both your customers, potential customers, and media can access everything they need to know about what's going on at your company. What are the key elements of a press room? of course, an archive of your press releases, a one-stop shop for your latest news. Other elements, aside from press releases, that should definitely be in your press room, a visually appealing press kit. Ditch the boring fact sheets and get creative. If you have flexibility with this, there's a great opportunity for wow factor here. Delight media and visitors with something out of the ordinary. A standard press kit, used to just be Word documents with basic text, but now you have sites like Publisher or programs like Publisher, PowerPoint, and other graphic design programs that can really make your press kit more of an experience. You're also going to want to have your key contact information on that page, not just your PR representative, but general contact and media information for the company, a link to your Facebook page, your Twitter, your LinkedIn, and all your other social sites. Also, include your brand guidelines. You've worked really hard to brand your company, so everything from your mission statement, your company description, your values, even your colors. Make it really easy for people to understand how you want to be represented. And finally, you've probably also spent a lot of time and money on creating your awesome logo. So a lot of people will just kind of search the web for what they think might be your logo, and then they go and they butcher it because they think that's fun, but make it easy for them to use the logo that represents your company properly, provide it in different formats and sizes so that it's all right there for them to use. So what are the results of not just distributing your press release across the wire, but spreading it across the web through social media networks, hosting it on your site, all the items I just covered? Definitely increased search engine visibility. The Google, the crawlers, they're just going to eat it up. Increased media visibility. Not only have you hit traditional media like newspapers, magazines, trades, TV, and radio, but now potentially blogs, online news sites, online publications, social media, news aggregators, and search engines. And of course, the result of that would be more website traffic, credibility, referral opportunities, accessibility, and top-of-mind awareness. And of course, the ultimate result is that you will be winning. Releases are no longer only viewed by traditional journalists. Now consumers can see your releases on websites and blogs, discover them on social media sites and news aggregators, and even find them through the search engines. You can speak directly to your consumers and media with a much more targeted and personal approach. So make a good impression by creating a release that successfully conveys your message and your brand. Make sure your releases are easy to share and impressive enough to be worth it. So that is it for me. I'd like to thank you very much for joining us, and keep an eye out for our upcoming webinars. And again, this webinar will be available for replay on our website at www.verticalmeasures.com/webinars. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.